Hello and welcome to episode 54 of the Critical Twits Gaming Podcast, where today we're going to be talking to you about all the fun we had at Dragonmeet. So welcome to our very first guerrilla podcast. We've recorded this on the fly as we've been taking part in the fun activities and capitalistic spending that is Dragonmeet, a gaming convention that happens every year in London, run by Modiphius, the board game and role-playing game company, but with loads and loads of people from across the world. We've talked to absolutely loads of people about all sorts of different things. We've got tabletop role-playing games, we've got board games, we've got upcoming Kickstarters, we've got all sorts of different things, so stay tuned. Hello, we're at the Novotel Hammersmith. We arrived a couple of hours ago and then decided we wanted food, so we left and came back. And also there was waiting because Jamie had to buy a tripod. Good planning, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. I just couldn't find my tripod this morning, so I thought just pop to Argos and get one.
But we have found a Colin. Say hello to the children at home, Colin.
Hello, everybody. This is probably as much as you've ever heard from me anyway on a podcast. Hello, goodbye.
Yeah, listen back about 30 episodes and you'll get a Colin episode.
Yes, where he will say something horrible about a child, an animal, or a baby animal.
Which the lovely people at home don't get to hear because we have to edit everything
we'll
he says.
We'll have to do a special episode.
Colin outtakes.
All of Colin's outtakes.
It'll get us banned from something.
Yeah. We've been inside. I've done a quick lap.
Yeah.
What do we think so far?
It's not bad. The location is a bit fancier than last year.
Yeah, it also appears to be a castle built in the sky that is impossible to access from ground level.
Yeah, having one working elevator to
we queued for a lift for about 15 minutes.
I don't know why I keep calling it elevator. Americanisms.
I know.
It's upsetting me.
Why are you being American? It's just wrong.
I blame mainstream media.
Goddamn Hollywood.
Exactly.
Goddamn Trump.
You're just picking up their liberal bias like a sponge.
Yeah.
Love a bit of liberal bias.
Hurry up and build your goddamn
What are we
wall.
talking about?
Spongy.
Yeah, we've done a lap round. It's bigger than before. Seems about as busy as before, but if it's bigger, that means there's probably more people.
Yeah, I mean, it's early days. Yeah, I suppose it's 12:30, so it's not actually that early anymore. It's been going for a couple of hours now.
We've already lost one member of our gaming group to the bring and buy.
We expected this to
He was
happen.
last seen clutching a core copy of Netrunner that was costing him 10 of your Earth pounds and crying tears of salty happiness.
That's a pretty good deal.
It's not bad, is it?
No,
it's
no.
not bad.
If I didn't have 3, I would have been jealous.
You always need another core set.
No, Jamie, I'm not like you. I'm happy with just a playset of everything.
That was very imperialistic of Brian to assume that 10 of our Earth pounds, as in that's the currency we would use if aliens come along.
I don't deal in your mortal money. I am mostly fueled by enthusiasm and shoplifting. We should probably have some kind of agenda when we decide to talk about the microphone. Shall we venture forth?
Yes.
Let's venture forth.
Gathering parties and such.
Well, to start the day off, we interviewed John from Spider-Mind Games about the upcoming Elite Dangerous Roleplaying Game.
Give them the truth rather than the half-remembered bullshit that comes out my mouth. Because I've been far too busy and forgotten what everyone
You've put me on a
says.
pedestal, and I'm about, as soon as you press record, I'm about to fall from that pedestal and give you some half-remembered shit because I didn't write it. I'm only the producer of the game, so what do I know? And the author today, of all days, volunteered about 6 months ago to be in his local panto.
Oh, wow.
So he is actually playing a proper panto baddie today rather than being here to explain his game. But
We'd like to
basically,
include that on the podcast.
yes. Well, basically, the Elite Dangerous Roleplaying Game is a tabletop role-playing game based on Elite Dangerous, the MMO. And it's a D10 system, and there are 3 main combat areas. Of course, everyone will know Elite Dangerous for the fact that there are spaceship combat, which there is in the RPG. But there's also a lower level of SRV combat. SRV, or Surface Reconnaissance Vehicle, is something that's featured in the game. But for us as role players, of course, it's not just one SRV, it's lots of different types. You can get tanks, you can get gangland vehicles, you can get all sorts. And then there's also a personal combat level as well. So there are some personal combat rules so that when you're out of your spaceship and you're out of your SRV and you're running around either the space stations or on the surface, there's a bunch of rules as available as well. And if you want to have a look and see what it's like, We're actually launching the Kickstarter to raise the funds to make the core book and 4 source books on the 16th of January. But if you want to have a look now, you can go to edrpg.co.uk and there's a download button there to allow you to download a 50-page free playtest, which is for a GM and 4 characters, just to give you a feeling for the game. It doesn't contain all of the rules. It's not a core book, it's just basically a sort of an impressions of the game. And also on the EDRPG website, there's the developers blog, where we will be downloading and updating on all the exciting things like the writers that we're getting to do some of the source books, and when the launch is and how the launch is going and what extra stuff we put in there. So that's basically it.
Cool. You've mentioned that it's got space combat, it's got the ground vehicles, and actually sort of infantry combat, as it were.
Yep.
Is there a main focus of the game? Does it focus on the ships? Does it focus on the infantry? Or is it whatever you want to do within your group?
No, Elite Dangerous, the online MMO, has you basically flying in the spaceship. At the moment, that's where Elite originally, back in the 80s, came from. You and a spaceship and 100 credits and off you go. With the role-playing game, we've taken players out. So you can, in fact, have an entire campaign just in personal combat and SRV without touching the spaceships, or the other way around, spacecraft or the other way around. It's absolutely up to what the GM wants. The source books that we're launching with the main core book will include 4 categories. There's the military missions side of things, so that's you taking on military missions both in your spaceship as well as you on the ground as grunts. The exploration side of things, again, that's mainly flying from system to system, exploring new uncharted worlds, but there are interesting things in the exploration missions to come across. Downed spaceship, unrecognisable and slightly alien-looking ruins and artefacts to find, and all this sort of stuff. And then there's espionage, so that's being spies, and then finally there's the super traders, which is based on the idea that in the Elite MMO you can trade. Well, of course, trading might sound to some people like trucking, and trucking might sound boring, but of course, if you're just asked to ship a commodity from one place to another, things can happen. And in Super Traders, they do, and often. So again, it's absolutely up to the GM, and it's completely flexible.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some kind of feedback.
Very nice to meet you guys.
Thank you, it's been
Thanks.
great.
Yeah.
Next, I talked to Sam from Modiphius Entertainment about the new edition of the Star Trek Adventures RPG.
Yeah. So Star Trek Adventures is the latest edition of their role-playing game for the tabletop, and it is from Modiphius Entertainment, and it's brand new, coming next year. We're wanting to produce something a little bit different from the previous editions. So what we're doing is we're giving kind of a different slant or kind of different narration on the timeline and all the events of Star Trek. So while we'll obviously have the game that's based on the 2D20 system, we'll have lots of sidebars and lots of story elements that are based on different perspectives. So there might be a Romulan intelligence report about what happened when yesterday's Enterprise came through that time portal and went back, and how the hell did they know about our weapons configuration. And there'll be, Klingon reports on how best to destroy a Constellation class vessel, or stuff like that, So our default setting is 2371, and that's a very exciting year for Trek, because Janeway's about to go off, mistakenly obviously, into the Delta Quadrant, but she's being sent into the Badlands, so Voyager's on the cards. DS9, also Commander Sisko has just encountered the Jem'Hadar and the Dominion, and has obviously just come back from that, and so Starfleet and Klingons, pretty much everybody, is kind of on alert, as it were.
Okay, so I'm guessing the stories will let you take your own campaign in any of those directions.
Absolutely, yeah. So, as I say, that is our default time, but you can also obviously adventure in the Kirk era as well with the 5-year missions, and basically, as usual, give you a toolkit under the 2D20 system to run whichever adventure you want. But there'll be lots of, as I say, setting information on that year particularly, and how to play different characters from command and from tactical operations, engineering and science and medical and all that kind of stuff as well.
Excellent. So do you think there'll be eventually source books for some of the other eras?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do is, first of all, we'll bring out some division books. So we'll do a more in-depth look at command, we'll do a more in-depth look at operations and of science as well. We'll also have source books about the Alpha Quadrant, Beta Quadrant, Gamma and then Delta eventually, so that you'll have information, more in-depth information about planets, cultures, different civilizations and factions, and obviously the key players like Klingons, Romulans and the Cardassians and all that kind of stuff as well.
Okay, so will it include rules for things like ship combat as well as ground combat?
Yeah, absolutely as well. That's in the core rulebook. So we'll have ship combat, but obviously that's from the perspective of the crew on board.
Yes.
So if you're the helmsman, then you're, at the controls, making the ship go. So rather than actually thinking of it more as a kind of tactical starship game,
Yeah. Okay, that sounds very interesting. Okay, cool.
No worries.
Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for your
Sweet.
time.
That's all right.
Next, we spoke to Lydia from Rosie's Gaming Accessories, who are currently kickstarting a series of handcrafted DM chests.
Okay, so it's our Kickstarter. It's going to be a game chest for a DM. So it's a portable one.
We're on Kickstarter around Wednesday.
Yeah.
This week.
Cool. So tomorrow, hopefully, if we get this out on time.
Yes.
It's your
hopefully,
fault.
yeah.
We'll be out on time.
So yeah. So you open it up, and the bottom is a dice storage area, and it comes in different colours and different styles. Yes, depending on how you like it. Now the top bit's the nifty bit. So you open it up, and it's more storage to start off with. And then you've got these fold-out wings, which are in conjunction to the sculpt on top, or whatever you want, and they clip into place down the side. If I can do that without looking, which I can't apparently. And then you can take the stuff out of your storage area, and you've got a convert dice rolling map and DM screen.
Okay.
Then no matter where your players stand, they cannot see your dice. And you can now lift up your dice box and still get dice out from underneath without your players seeing what you're pulling out. So you could be getting a D8 or a D4, and you can still have them panicking, which is the best part about it.
Nice.
So yeah, that will hopefully be our Kickstarter. And obviously it all folds away, and it's quite lightweight, and they're all made of solid hardwoods. So. For the Tree of Life, you've got tree branches. The D20, we've got D20s. All on 20 for good luck, of course.
Yep, good.
Just think positive.
To murder your players more easily.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, you don't want to give them too much help, do you?
No.
We're hoping to have, for the Kickstarter one, a dragon with flames around the side, as well as a phoenix, and a werewolf with moons. And my favourite one, which will be Cthulhu, with tentacles that come out as the fold-away wings.
Oh, excellent.
Because I am a little bit obsessed with Cthulhu.
I do like a nice Lovecraftian anything, really.
Exactly, so do I, but I couldn't bear to play the games because I get really attached to characters really quickly, and knowing that they're going to die in the first 3 minutes of play just kills me on the inside.
So do you DM yourself then? Is that where the ideas come from?
Well, my little brother is mainly the DM. I'm more of a player. I mean, I do DM, but very rarely because I'm not very good at it because I get sidetracked very easily, which is awful in a player and a DM. But I have been playing for about 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
So this is his own original idea, and then I do all the finishing with my family. So the painting, the waxing. So that's all of us and the hinges and everything.
So a family business?
Yeah,
then?
it is a family business. We are Rosie's Gaming Accessories because that is our last name.
Okay.
Yes.
I just assumed that you were Rose, but then it says Lydia on there, so of course.
Yeah, this is the plaques he made at 11:30 last night. And then I painted them at 1:45, knowing that we had to be up at 4 a.m. to be here. So that was a great idea. And I call him my little brother because he's 5 years younger than me, and I'm in 6-inch heels, and he's
still towering over you. Yeah.
I'm just dumb.
So is the Kickstarter just for the DM screen?
Yeah, the Kickstarter is just literally for this one, and obviously the other 3 that we've designed.
The variations of the design.
We've only been going for about 2 months, so everything that you see here is just stuff that we've come up with. We're hoping to have magic boxes and dice rolling towers and deck boxes and things like that. So we're hoping that people give us more ideas of what they'd like, and then we can start creating them for you. Because everything we use is reclaimed hardwood, so it's quality material, and we can give it to you a bit cheaper than, say, anyone else if they were making this. I don't know if anybody else does anything like we do.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, but you're not having to order 50 million trees to be chopped down somewhere and shipped to you, etc.
That box is made of an old piano. It's mahogany. It's pure mahogany, shaped out of a single piece of wood.
I like that. It's nice.
But yeah, so and it's illegal to cut down that piece of type of mahogany now because it's endangered and it takes too long to grow.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we do everything we can for the environment.
Oh, great.
And it means that everything we do, we start from a single piece of wood and we carve it all ourselves. Like everything is done in-house, except making the hinges. I'm good, but I can't make metal work. Like, it's just not happening.
So, as well as the Kickstarter for the gaming screens, which do look lovely, and they are fairly hefty, aren't they?
Depending on what type, so you've got oak, which is heavy, but this is black walnut, so it's a bit lighter.
Okay, yeah. They seem nice and sturdy. They're not going to get broken in your bag or that kind of thing.
I wouldn't recommend dropping them, but if you did, they'd survive quite nicely. You'd probably have a dent in your floor, but...
Do you have a website for everything else?
We have an Etsy shop at the moment because we've only just started. So we have a Facebook page and an Etsy shop called Rose's Gaming Accessories. So it's all going on there. But this is literally, we're just so brand new that we thought we'd try and get a bit of word out there. This is our first ever meet, and everyone here is so lovely. So
having a good time? Seen anything interesting?
Yeah, we've seen a load of amazing things, and a load of lovely people have come up and obviously bought from us and told us how much they like our stuff. And I really wanted to get in on a game, but I've sort of been stuck here the entire day. So
yeah, everyone we've talked to has said that when you come here to to present or you've got a small store or whatever, you get stuck there and you get to see everyone else having fun.
You just sort of like, can I just? Oh no, I can't. I mean, the guys that make the pewter dice are incredible. I mean, we've had a few people that come over here, like, I've just bought these amazing pewter dice and now I need someone to store it. I was like, well, help yourselves.
Yes, yeah. Do you take sort of commissions if someone wanted a custom design?
We do whatever you want. It won't cost you any more than, say, if you wanted one of these boxes but you wanted your own price on it, we would happily do it and we wouldn't cost you anything else for it. So it's literally, obviously, if you've got different dimensions, then we might charge a bit more, but it's not an arm and a leg to decide what you'd like on your box. So it's all about the customer and it's all about what people like and what they enjoy.
So just to recap for everyone who's listening, because we've rattled through that fairly quickly, it's Rose's Gaming Accessories. We'll put a link to the Kickstarter when it's live, but you can also buy the smaller dice boxes and such like on the Etsy store, so we'll pop a link down to that as well. So thank you very much.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us.
It's all right, it's great.
Right, let's get you some dice stuff going on.
Right, so we're here with Lewis from Braincrack Games, and we're going to be having a look at Downsize, a card game. So, Lewis, what can you tell me about the game?
So Downsize is very quick, quite light, 20-minute game. Essentially, everyone is running a company, and as the name suggests, you are firing people to resolve actions. You take returns cards that are in the center of the table, and so certain combinations of employees, like investments and corporate, will get you returns cards. There are also specialists which have the effects listed on the card. So you've got like investments, corporate, legal, there are auditors, there are security guards. And the aim of the game is to get the most money and keep quite a small company. Because at the end of the game, the market crashes, and if you have any employees left in your hand, you will take losses.
Okay.
So on your turn, you can either hire an employee from this deck, you can fire a specialist, which are the cards with extra text at the bottom, or you can fire a pair, according to the pairs listed on the reference card.
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to have a game of this now, and we'll probably do a first impressions review later. Yeah? Cool, okay, thank you. So with Downsize, what were our first thoughts on what we played?
I really like it. It's quite cynical in its... You're trying to fire all of your employees to make as much money, which I like. I like that kind of thing. Have you been downsized yourself? Is that where it came from? Is that...
Now, a lot of people say like, oh, was there some sort of kind of horrible inspiration for this game? But I was actually at university when I designed this, and not in a job at all. Although I did, when I published it, my boss kind of turned to me and he said, "Are you okay? Like, is there something wrong? Are you worried for your job?"
I think it's brilliant. It's good fun. It's simple. It's something that, while the cynical side of it would be lost, the gameplay mechanics are easy enough for children to play as well. Because you can match colours. You can include the adding up at the end with, you've got a bit of maths in there and stuff like that. So I've been looking at something I could play with my daughter.
I think the youngest we've played it with is 4 years old. And he also, obviously, once he's like had all the cards explained to him and stuff, he absolutely loves it.
Yeah, this is it. So is this Kickstarter as well, or is this released? This one.
So this has been released. It kickstarted in April, and we got 28,000. It's on Amazon currently, and I think you can also get it at Games Quest and All Good Meeple.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good fun. Quick, very quick to play, and really interesting. So,
as long as you don't mind sort of those sort of gotcha things, because a lot of the cards are, I'm going to look at what you've got, take it away.
Yeah.
That kind of game, then that's great. I do, so it's fine.
It is a take that game at its core. But one thing I like about it is it's not a particularly vicious take that game. In that sometimes you'll make people hire employees in thinking that they're going to make more losses at the end of the game, but it might just be the thing that they need at that point. So it's not a mean take that game.
No, it's quite light-hearted in the way that it plays out, and again the interactions are, haha, you're out of the game kind of thing, which it's good.
And it's not like a 2-hour epic as well, so you're not ruining someone's day when you.
Yeah.
It took us 10 minutes, 15 minutes to play through, so yeah.
And that's on a first time, oh god, what does this do kind of thing. Yeah.
With Jamie, who likes to plan ahead 47 moves.
Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys.
All right. We're here with Lewis again, talking about Mind Out this time, which looks to be a fairly fun game about mining.
Yeah. So it's a pocket-sized mining game. It's £15 on Kickstarter at the moment, and essentially what you have is a randomly generated mine across 12 cards. Your miner moves around, he spends action points to pick up gems, and when you pick up gems, it makes that part of the mine shaky. When he takes another gem from that part of the mine, it'll then collapse. Unless he uses supports, which cost time and money, but they mean that you can mine those gems on those cards as much as you want. You use these to buy your upgrades like mine carts, coffee, shovels and ladders. And it's essentially a strategy game. You can play it fast and loose, or you can try and game it and make the best mine with the best upgrades and try and score the most points.
Okay, brilliant. So it looks a bit worker placement-y, or is that just literally the fact that there's little meeples in it, and I'm assuming?
It's more sort of like a action point allowance sort of adventure game. You're moving one little guy around, and that's how it works. Grid movement.
Okay, cool.
Placing one worker.
Yeah. Well, yes. So it's a resource spending on risk reward, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you say it's on Kickstarter now?
Yep.
When's that go on till?
It's on for the next 5 days, with today being the 3rd, so it's on until the 8th. It's funding for £9,000, and I think we're halfway there, so we've got a little bit of a way to go.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So this should go out on Tuesday, which is the 6th. Yeah. So a couple of days before the Kickstarter ends.
Race over to the Kickstarter page and grab yourself a copy. There are also gem upgrade packs available. So usually you just use the sort of pushy cube gem counter in the game, but you can get a nice little pack of shiny gems to throw in there with it, which obviously upgrades the game a little bit.
Awesome. Oh, thank you. We'll give it a try. Okay, we're back with Brain Crack Games, and we've just had a run through of Mind Out, which is again on Kickstarter this week. So, Brian, what's your first thoughts?
Going back to when we were talking about the last game, you've never worked in a mine then?
Not quite, no. I mean, it's been an aspiration of mine for years, but sadly tabletop gaming is about as close as I can get, really.
Yeah, I look more like a hobbit than a dwarf, so I've never been down the mines. I wouldn't mind living a little bit underground.
I think I've been in Cheddar Gorge. That's about it.
No, I'm not even going to make cheese jokes. Let's try to maintain a veneer of seriousness. Have you played SteamWorld Dig?
I haven't played SteamWorld Dig, no.
It just reminded me of that, which is
It's a computer game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that because it's also set in a mine?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And you collect gems.
Right. What else are you going to do in a mine? Murder canaries.
Yes. Hide dead people. I don't know.
Cool. So on the actual game itself, as the more competitive of the group,
yeah,
I like the fact there's different ways you can go about winning. You can play that almost scorched earth thing and just go, no, I will let everything collapse and rush for gems, or you can try and structure up a well-established, upgraded mine. But there is that one-off shot that someone can go, no, I'm going to ruin your fun and break that one with the dynamite. So it looks balanced. I like the fact there's a little bit of depth to the tactics as well.
I was going to say, I assume every player, although it's randomised, every player will have the same mine overall. So there'll be the same 4 cards for the top layer, the middle layer.
It is actually random each game.
Okay.
But the way it's worked out is that you're at the bottom of your mine. You're more likely to have nicer gems, but it's not always the case. You can have a bit of a pants lower mine, but generally it is very well averaged out. There's never a game where you don't have the gems you need to progress. Sometimes you might get yourself into a tight spot, but that's all about planning ahead and trying to build in a contingency plan as to what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of blowing up other people's stuff. So they reveal that thing with the 3 red gems in it, which looked really, really good, and then you just go, no. That looks fun.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Joe.
Yeah.
Because I'd do that. Because you'd get that card every time.
Yeah, probably. Extreme luck, and everyone hates me for it.
So could you just tell us a little bit about, I love the name, by the way, Brain Crack Games. I think that's really, really good. Could you tell us a bit about the company and how it came about? I'm going to sound really old now. You seem quite young to have your own company, so...
It's because I shaved yesterday, mostly.
Okay.
Yesterday I looked like a sort of balding 40s homeless man.
I look like a 14-year-old girl if I shave. So.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I started the business sort of earlier this year to kickstart Downsize. I was in university at the time. I graduated in May. And it's really just the offset of an addiction, really. I am absolutely obsessed with designing games, as Emily will tell you. And yeah, it sort of absorbed all my time until next thing I know I'd quit my job and I was selling games for a living. Yeah, it's called Brain Crack Games. The meaning behind that being it is essentially crack from my brain. That is where that comes from. It's what I'm thinking of every minute of the day. So yeah.
Rather than hardcore drugs, it's board games.
Rather than hardcore drugs, yeah. I mean, board games are a safer option. Staying cool.
It's a bit more expensive though.
Yes, definitely.
Depending. Less likely to kill yourself and...
You drown.
If you're a bad loser, I guess.
You could drown in miniatures games.
Yeah, that's it. You got rid of my investments. I'm going to go.
I'd never kill myself. I'd kill you for beating me because I am a bad loser. But I never hurt
done it
myself.
yet.
Close.
And I often beat you.
The comments like that.
I know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do drugs, kids. Just get Uno. Like.
It's better than heroin.
Well,
that's what you should put as the tagline for this. Better than heroin.
Well, there's the internet meme of like, if you teach your kids to play Magic the Gathering, they'll never get into drugs because they have no money.
Yeah.
It is true. It's a good hobby.
I mean, in terms of taglines, we were thinking of because obviously brain crack is what's on your brain all the time. I did briefly think of going for the hashtag show us your crack. And then I thought that could probably be misread quite badly.
In multiple ways, none of which are safe for potential target audiences.
Yeah, no, we ditched that one.
Great. No, more
Yes,
of
but
that.
we're horrible human beings.
Yeah.
Not everyone is.
I think we should put it as our tagline without any reference to actual cracks in the brains. And it would just be even worse. Cool. Well, thank you very much for talking to us. And make sure you check out the Kickstarter that's on until the 8th.
Next, we talked to Gary Wareham about his dystopian card game, Oligarchy.
Oligarchy is a dystopian future card game. It is both collectible, so CCG players will collect it and play it as they want. But we took a lot of feedback from events like this where people said, look, I like the idea of the game, I like the way it played, but I don't want to sink tons and tons of money into a collectible game. I already play Magic or Pokemon, I don't want to play for this as well. And I said, well, yeah, this is better, but it's your choice as a discerning customer. Sure. So what we did is we made the core game, which you can see here, is standalone. So everything you see on the table today it will retail for about 25, 30 quid, depending on the retailer. And that has about 30 to 40% of the entire set of the game. Right. It doesn't have the super ultra mega rare cards, but then I've got to make some money somehow, haven't I? So, but everything in here is balanced, and it's what you see today. So if you pre-order it on BackerKit at the moment, then it's 20% off, so it's 20 quid.
Right, so it's available on BackerKit now?
Yes, available on BackerKit right now. The pre-orders are strong. We've done much better than we expected, but I think that's down to, on Board Game Geek, We don't have a huge amount of reviews, but the plays that have been logged and the reviews are averaging 8.9.
That's really good.
I'm told that's very good.
That's very high for a board game.
Yeah, but then it's a small sample, so let's see. When it's released, it will probably aggregate down or up, maybe. We don't know.
Okay, so what's the elevator pitch for Oligarchy?
So elevator pitch is it's a dystopian future card game in which you play the role of an oligarch. The game is reality based, so its unique selling point is that it doesn't have orcs, elves and fairies and demons and whatnot. It has real horrible people, real nice people. You play them, you deploy them in the game to work for you, because obviously you are a very powerful individual in the chosen field. There are 8 fields, factions we call them, that you can ally yourself to. So if you're familiar with games like Magic, where there's 5 colours, in Oligarchy there are 8 factions. And unlike with Magic, their propensity model for continuing their sales, everything revolves around those 5 colours. They never add in a new colour because that would be a bit awkward at this stage. Whereas Oligarchy has that flexibility, so we're adding in new factions with every expansion. And I was just discussing with our manufacturer there that the new expansion will come in and there will be 2 new factions is the plan, 200 new cards, and allows you to just jazz up your game, and then it appeals to more different personality types, as it were, for you, because you will find as you play the game's got quite a lot of dark humour to it, and it's quite fun blowing each other up in car bombs. And earlier I had a priest and someone took a contract kill out on him, and he wasn't seen again. So that's the game in a nutshell.
Okay, awesome.
While Joe and I were having fun playing Oligarchy, Brian was off interviewing Backspindle Games about a couple of their latest releases.
And should we talk about Luchador first? Seeing as I've just had a game of Luchador, which was great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Why did you enjoy it? I'll interview you.
It's got kind of silliness to it, without being ridiculous and sort of over the top and getting anyone to stand on one leg or pull silly faces.
Yeah. No, that's purposeful.
Yes.
Really. I mean, the idea was. I'm a big wrestling fan since I was a kid. And the big attraction for wrestling is silly. It's not serious. People know that. It's larger than life characters, and they do ridiculous things, and they cheat and all the rest of it. So the idea was a fast-playing game that would reflect that kind of atmosphere, and that's proves. It happens a lot. We get people shouting, screaming. We have them showing up with masks to play. They actually do that. It's ridiculous. So, but it's fun. It's good fun that way. So my initial idea, and then I took it to my buddies over at Backspindle Games, who I'd gotten to know from a previous design I did, and they thought, no, it has to be Mexican wrestling as opposed to normal wrestling. And then from there on, we just kind of went crazy.
It just sort of sparked it, and we took over from there. I think the appeal of the Mexican wrestling for us was just purely the visuals of it. So much more colourful, the masks. And if you've ever watched Lucha Libre as opposed to WWE, it's faster, the leaps are higher.
It's far more dangerous.
It's far more dangerous. And there's just so much more action in the game, and that's what we tried to bring into it.
In the back of our minds, we're both thinking there's a huge audience for this if we can get to the wrestling fans out there. So we're starting to get there, which is kind of nice. So we're thinking, it could be something there. And it has to have dice to make it, even more ridiculous.
Whose idea was the ring? I really like having to roll the dice
That's
in
his
the ring.
fault.
If they fall out of the ring, they don't count.
This is genius.
No, it was the very first edition of this game was put out just as a little pocket box game. And it just had a fold-out board. And we done that. We were pretty certain we had an idea that would fly, but in order to test the water, we put a very small one out just in a pocket format. We kept it as simple. We just did very basic rules, and we put it out there. And we thought, well, let's test it. If people play it in this format and enjoy it, then we've got something to build on. So we done that, and it sold out very quickly for us. So then we put together the Kickstarter, and we started thinking, okay, how can we make it bigger? How can we make it better? How we can get more of the excitement into it? So we started kicking around a few ideas, and I thought what would be really cool would be to have a proper 3D ring to put it in. So we kicked a few things around, and I started working on a few designs, and eventually came up with something that's sitting in front of you there, and it just, as you say, it just adds to the game. It just
when you've got things like your re-rolls where you've missed or whatever, then it becomes more of a dexterity game. So you're trying to knock their dice out.
That was there from the beginning, before this came. And then this is kind of exaggerated. The 3D ring just exaggerated it even more. So
is the second edition?
This is the second edition,
Is it fairly recent, the second edition? Is it?
No, this is the
fourth year, is it?
It's
going on the fourth year.
It's the third reprint this year of it.
So it's really taken off in the US this year.
It's starting to build over
there.
there.
Our partner in the US. And
it was published in Spain by Masco. They've done a Spanish version of it.
Just
Happy Shops in Germany they're doing a translation kit for it, so you can buy the game with a German translation kit for German fans out there. And we've plans afoot for a few expansions and stuff coming up. Some new more wrestlers. We just keep looking at. I mean, the whole wrestling thing. There's such a wide theatre of activities around that, and all the stuff that happens outside the ring, not just in the ring. So we're now looking at ways how can we bring that into the game as well.
That's one of the reasons why we put things like high-fiving, and you have to do it. It's just because it becomes part of an atmosphere as opposed to just playing the game. Because to me, I mean, the feedback and the comments are all about how people feel. It's not about mechanics. It's secondary, actually. It's about how I felt playing that, and that's exactly what we try to do.
You've got the mechanics down in that nice sweet spot where they're not over complex.
No.
I feel like you've got a little bit of tactics to it, but then, as I said, I will spend that game going on that chance.
So that's I mean,
that was the point.
It doesn't pretend to be anything other than a dice chucker. It's what it is, but it's all about the theme in the field. Now, we did add in the advanced cards in the second edition, which, if you want a wee bit more depth to it, a few more choices, it allows you to hold back dice results and build up for killer combinations. It brings in individual strengths and weaknesses. So just for those people who want a wee bit more depth to it, a few more choices, it's in there in the advanced rules if you want to play it that way.
Do you do because we did a tag team game with 4 players. Can you look a Royal Rumble for?
There's rules for that. We don't call it Royal Rumble for obvious reasons. But there is a rules for basically it's kind of like last man standing type of thing.
You have that. So it can be played up to 6 players as well. As well as the standard 2-man tag team. There's a tag team brawl which has 3 teams of 2. The difference being in a normal tag team match, you can tag your teammate in and out as you want. In a tag team brawl, you can tag anyone around the table in. And they're not allowed to refuse. As soon as you offer them a tag, they must take it and get in the ring. So it lends some interesting battles going on there.
It's
chaos. That's
the thing is trying to make sure it's manageable. Because you can come up with all kinds of ridiculous ideas, and then all of a sudden it starts to unwind a bit. So I think it's important to keep it a pretty tight game so that it works, and let people do their own thing. And right now on BGG, we've got people who've created their own cards from WWE now. They've created their own match types, and it's great. It's really, really great.
I think a lot of it's about the little touches we try to put in. It was all about trying to make it as close to the wrestling experience without actually getting physical and hurting people. So that's why we put there's 2 wrestling belts that come in the thing. But, there's special rules for that. You can't just win one match and call yourself a champion. So there's rules in there that when you start playing the game, the first person that wins 5 matches in total or can win 3 matches back to back, they can claim the belt. Now, if they've done that and somebody wants to challenge them, well, they're not worthy to step into the ring with the champion until they prove themselves. So they have to go and win 3 matches back to back or 5 matches from the date of you winning the belt. Then they've got the right to challenge you for your belt. And then you have a best of 3 1v1 match, and if they manage to beat you in that, then they get the title. Otherwise, it stays with you. So you can have an ongoing thing, and there's a belt for individuals and there's a belt for tag team world champions. So you get bragging rights as well.
Nice. Always good. Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Okay, this is Codinca. Okay, it's an Aztec themed game. It's not a particularly heavy theme, but there's a little backstory to it just to set up on it, and that is that the players are intrepid explorers. They've been exploring in the rainforest of South America, and we discovered a city, a ruined city. In the centre of that there's this amazing temple. The problem is we've been there 3 months and we haven't found a way in. So the premise of the game is that there's a local legend that says there are 4 magical locks that must be broken in order to get into the temple. Okay, so there's 4 decks of cards that sit beside the grid of 16 tiles. At the start of the game, each player draws 1 from each of those decks, and that gives him 4 what we call key patterns, okay? So that's the 4 key patterns. Each player will have their own individual set of 4 of those, which they keep secret. Now looking at the grid, you've got 16 tiles, you've got 4 sets of 4 in 4 different colours, okay, and they represent earth, air, fire and water tiles, okay? So depending on where you sit around the grid, you will be controlling 4 tiles. Excuse me. In this case, I would be controlling the green earth tiles. You would be controlling the blue water tiles, okay? To win the game, I must move my green earth tiles into these 4 patterns. I must have them in the right pattern, in right position, and I must also have the right side showing, because each tile has the same pattern on both sides, only one side's in gold and one side's in white, or stone as we call it in the game.
Yeah.
Okay? So in order to win, I have to achieve each of these 4 patterns. I can do them in any order.
Yeah.
I keep the cards hidden. When I show you the pattern I've achieved, you confirm it and I will put it face down again.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to remember what I've achieved, because if you know what I've achieved, you will know what I've still got to do, which makes it easier for you to block me.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we've got to achieve, and how we do it in the game is 2 very simple actions in the game. You've got a switch and you've got a flip. A switch basically starts always with one of your own tiles, and you can pick it up and you can swap its position with any adjacent tile, including diagonally. So that's a switch. The other option is a flip, and that is just to turn any tile on the table from stone to gold or gold to stone. Okay? And like you say, that can be anyone's tile. So that's your 2 basic actions. On your turn, you can do any combination of 2 of those. Okay? So you can switch a tile and switch another tile. Sorry. Switch a tile and flip a tile. Or you can flip 2 tiles. There's one proviso in the game, that is if you're flipping 2 tiles or turning 2 tiles over on the same turn, one of them must be your own. The other one again can be anybody's. So that's your basic actions. The only other thing that comes into the game are a set of cards here which are called spirit cards. Each person starts with 3 of those, and anything you do with these cards happens in addition to your normal action. Okay, so you still get 2 turns or 3 actions, plus you can spend 1 or more of these. Okay, 2 ways to play them. If you put them one side down, there's 2 little action patterns shown on the back of them. They will buy you either one of those 2 actions. So one is a block rotate, where you can take any 4 tiles and rotate them around their center point 90 degrees or 180 degrees in either direction. So you can just twist 4 tiles around and swap the position that way. The other one is called a line push, which can start at the end of any vertical or horizontal line. You take a tile from one end, you put it to the other, and you slide the whole line back up into the grid. So that's your 2 basic actions on that side. The other way to play these is to turn them the other way up.
This looks quite interesting.
It does. I like little abstract games like that.
Yeah. So we don't play enough of this kind of thing.
We need to do a special on some stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So sorry about that. So the other way to play a spirit card is to turn it over, and on the reverse of those cards we have what we call trap patterns. Okay, they can be played on any side of the board. It doesn't have to be just in front of you. So there's a little red arrow on them. You can put that on any side of the grid and point it towards the tiles. Now, nothing will move position. No tiles switch place, but every tile will turn over on the grid until the colour pattern shown on the trap matches. In this particular case, that row becomes white, white and gold across the thing.
Yeah.
So that can help you achieve one of these mixed patterns perhaps, or it can totally mess up an opponent. If you think he's about to get a pattern, you can slap one of those down at the end of your turn. So that's the basic concept of the game. It's a very simple game.
Is it 2-player or 4-player?
It can play 2 to 4 players. Okay. A 2-player game tends to be a lot more strategic because I can concentrate on what I'm doing and keep an eye on what you're doing. Once you bring in 3 and 4 players,
I guess the board state changes a lot as well between each round.
it does.
In full player.
But see, it sort of balances out. People will look at it and go, the 4-player game must be impossible. There's too many people moving your tiles before you get your go. But I say the difference is, if I'm playing one opponent, I can look after what I'm doing, and I can watch what he's doing, and I can block what he's doing. If there's 2 or 3 or 4 players, it's kind of hard sometimes for me to affect my opponent or hinder my opponent without helping somebody else.
Yeah.
Because there's only 16 tiles on the table, so you're always moving other people's tiles. So, you know, it's a different type of game when you've got 3 or 4 people playing, but it keeps its balance because of that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's cool.
Finally, we had a chat with Daruma about their latest edition of the SLA Industries role-playing game and their upcoming war game based in the same universe.
I was hoping we could talk to you about the...
That's the guy you want to speak to.
Yes. Hello, I'm Brian.
Hi Brian, you alright?
Not too bad.
I'm
Slightly
Jamie.
tired. Been running around annoying people all day.
Are we doing a group thing?
Yeah, we're doing it. This is Joe as well.
Hey Joe, alright.
He's one of us. It's not any of these ones though.
No, I didn't get on the t-shirt.
Can we just have a sort of a quick chat?
Yeah,
Chat with you.
of course.
Are you? Is this your baby then? Or?
Yes, there's 4 of us make up Daruma. So I'm one of the 4 partners. My brother, who's just dived off of the car, is one of them, and Dave and Jared, who are the original Nightfall, make up the other half.
Oh, excellent. Okay, that's cool. Are you recording already? Yeah, we'll cut it and make it sound good at some point. Could you tell us a little bit? Is this new today, recently?
SLA Industries was a cult role-playing game from the 90s, which still has a massive following. We've gone back to basics. We have reprinted the role-playing game. It just came back in last week. First time in 20 years it's been in print. We've done this for 2 reasons. Firstly, because we have a couple of supplements which were never published, which will take the game up to 2nd edition. So because we're having a bit of a resurgence on the game, we thought we have to get the core book back in print, and the supplements will take the journey up to 2nd edition in about 2 years' time. But also, we're actually doing a war game. So a lot of the miniatures and everything you can see here are all part of the Cannibal Sector 1 skirmish game. Now, we kickstarted the rule book because we need a bit of extra funds to produce the publication, but all of the factions and the characters and the miniatures you see here have all been self-funded, so we've done it the old-fashioned way. So you see there's a lot. We've got factions every 2 to 3 months.
So the war game is kickstarted, but the role play is a labour of love.
It is, yes. It is, definitely, very much so.
So were you involved with it originally? Or?
I was a fan originally, and I knew David and Jared from different shows and cons, etc., 20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
So I've always played SLA, and it's a Glasgow game. It was written in Glasgow, and it's from Glasgow. And you can see it's still got the little Scottish flag on the back. So it's a game after my own heart, very much.
Yeah.
So can you give us like the elevator pitch for the setting or for the...
It's a sci-fi horror system. It's set in a very grim, dark future where everything is televised. There's 10 billion people on the planet. They're all unemployed. So you give them well fed, and you show them blood sports 24/7. And by blood sports, I mean reality TV shows. If you imagine Cops, where there's an actual gunfight where the cops get gunned down, this is in this game. You have superstars. SLA Operatives is like a rock star. Meets a model, meets a cover girl who has got custom body armour and a special weapon, and she's trained to kick ass. And she will go in front of a live studio audience and take down the bad guys. All televised. You can even play side bets, and you get studio audience will come up and they'll play a little game show. Who do you think Delia is going to fight next? What's going to be the outcome of the next battle? You know, is she going to use her blitzer, or is she going to use the Fen? Which gun is she going to use next? You know, it's very cynical, very hard-edged science. The technology in it is very cutting edge. They use a lot of genetics. So instead of some mechanical implants and cyberware, it's actually bio-implants they've got. So most of the people who are wealthy live forever. They can get anything can be cloned and replaced. You know, your heart gets shot out, not a problem. They'll make you a new one. It's a very cool background.
So the players are going to be playing people trying to entertain, to make money that way?
They are low-level SLA operatives, and at the level the players start off with, they've got a low security clearance, they get the rubbish missions. You know, they won't get the glitzy missions with the big television backup. They will get sent in to do something like there's a maintenance man has disappeared in a sewer system. Go in there and find out what happened to the poor guy. And if you're really lucky, then all hell will break loose and the TV crew will turn up. If you're really lucky.
So you want the shit to hit the fan?
So you want the shit to hit the fan, yes. And you get paid a bonus depending on how much shit hits the fan.
So would the more cynical players maybe attempt to make the shit hit the fan to try?
That has been known from time to time, yes. And if you can initiate a melee combat, then you get more money as well, because studies have shown that gunfights are quite boring. The studio audience doesn't like them as much, and the SLA Corporation owns absolutely everything, so if you fire a few bullets off and you miss, someone's got to pay for that damage. I'm sorry, but you missed your target, you have to pay repairs. Whereas a good sword swing or an axe attack, it's got more of a chance of not causing collateral damage.
Sounds really interesting. What's the system like?
The mechanics of the actual role-playing game are very simple and very fast. Concentrating on speed and weighted slightly towards melee, but it's because the studio audience at home loves melee. The war game is very, very similar. The war game is very fast paced. You only need maybe 10 to 15 miniatures in total, and there is actually a mechanic in the game called ratings. And what that means is the more success you've got, the more your ratings pool builds up, and it either goes towards your victory conditions at the end of the game, or you can spend it on buffs and triggers and little special flashy manoeuvres, which if you do it right, the audience at home will love and give you more ratings, but if you do it wrong, your ratings pool will drop. Because you just messed up, and nobody wants to see you mess up on live TV.
Yeah, you said there's been a bit of a resurgence. Why do you think that is?
It's very much love book. It really is. We have got a massive cult following who've stuck with it for over 20 years, and the role-playing's come back in, and most of them have bought it again. They've still got the first print, they've still got the second print from the late 90s, but they've bought the third print as well because they want a modern version of the game. And the fact that they've got the miniatures and everything to go with the game now, that means they can see it's coming back. They know we've got 2 or 3 more supplements in the pipeline which will carry the story forward, and after 20 years of waiting, they really want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from what you were saying there about like the rating system and things, it looks like there's almost a push your luck element in it.
Oh yes.
Which is kind of new to a
wargaming.
Yeah, it's risk management. Do you play it safe and sit on your ratings pool, which is fine, it's a good tactic, or do you think, actually, you know what, I'm going to burn a few ratings here and see where it takes me, I'm going to activate these special buffs.
When are you looking at general release for the war game?
War game about June of next year. The beta testing is open right now. We have got literally hundreds of play testers around the world. We've got groups in America, Brazil, Scotland, several groups in the UK. If you look on the forums, you'll see straight away there's a massive amount of games get played every weekend, and we're using what we've learned from dozens of people playing every weekend to make it a better system.
Sounds good. We might have to check that out, I think.
Give it a download, give it a try.
Sounds interesting. But the new version of the roleplay book is out now if people want to get stuck
right
in.
now, yeah.
Where would they go to get hold of that?
There will be a lot of retailers are purchasing it. Stadium are going to be stocking it, they're big distributors in the UK. We've got a few role-playing shops that have come to us directly, or they can come to our website.
But I'm going to buy one.
It's a very nice looking book. Definitely.
And you get a free Halloween Jack with it.
Oh, excellent.
He's actually an immortal serial killer. But he's very popular on camera. Strangely, he's our Boba Fett. There is almost nothing in print about him, and there's only 3 images throughout all the books. And this includes supplements. But the less we tell people about him, the more we make it up, and the more popular he gets. So we had a design meeting about a year ago and said, right, Jack, everybody loves Jack. He's on t-shirts, he's on the book cover.
Yeah.
And then we thought, do we tell him a bit about him? You know what? No, let's just leave it. He's enigmatic. Nobody knows who Jack is. He's Jack.
So everyone can. There's enough there for them to build on the character.
He's a serial killer, but nobody knows how he picks his victims. It could be a CEO one week, a pizza delivery boy the next week, and a mother of 3 the following. There's no pattern that anybody can discern, and he appears to quite like killing SLA operatives. That's the only thing, is he goes out of his way to hunt down SLA operatives. If they're in the area and they know he's in the area and they're looking for him, he will not hide, he will not run, he will actually he will go and find them and say, right, bring it on.
Yeah.
So whoever he is, he's got a grudge with SLA Industries.
So that sounds really cool, actually. It's something that you can bring in as a recurring villain. And
he's very much an iconic character. Yeah, cool. Like I said, we've written nothing about him, hardly any images, and people love him.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for talking
thank you very much.
to us. Thank you very much for listening. We've been the Critical Twits. If you've enjoyed that, please remember to like, share and subscribe. We had an absolutely amazing time at Dragonmeet, didn't we, Jamie?
We did, it was awesome.
And I may have overindulged in the charity raffle.
Yeah, how much did you end up spending?
I'm not telling because my girlfriend might hear and tell me off.
It's a charity.
Yes, and I actually bought a couple of things I plan to gift on sort of Christmas and such like.
Yeah.
The first, the big prize that unfortunately was a little bit out of our reach was 2 people managed to get themselves drawn into the next edition of Munchkin as their own cards.
Yeah, that was amazing. I went for £650 each.
Yes, I was very tempted. My budget wasn't quite there, but I was very tempted to try and get a Critical Twits card in there.
know.
And I was like, no, I don't have that much money to indulge myself. But they bought all sorts of different things, sold loads of great stuff, and raised over £3,500 for charity. So, I mean, that alone means it's worth popping along, having a look at it next time. It's been bigger, it's been better than I remember. There's been a lot more people here. And it's just been an absolutely great time.
It's been a fantastic day and definitely look forward to going again next year.
Yeah, so until next time, we've been the Critical Twits in our various incarnations throughout this episode. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.